Hello, I wanted to save us some time by going through our business procedures manual with voiceover versus in person. So let's give this a try. So we are, as part of the school district, needing to follow the guiding principles, the expectations that our business office has put in place for our school. Our PTO is also under the district umbrella, so they must follow the same guidelines. So the manual is found under the business procedures link at urbandaleschools.com, and it's also listed in Frontline. So this basically means that any purchases that are over 5,000 must be approved by the supervisor and superintendent. 15 and higher, we must have bids and ultimately board approval. Purchases less than 5,000, we only need supervisor approval. So there are links within the presentation which are helpful, policy links as well as the forms that are needing to be completed. Purchase orders, this is basically Robin's world as well as mine. If we want to purchase something, Robin creates a requisition. I go in and approve that. Then the business office approves it. A purchase order is created, and then we make our purchases. So the P card doesn't come into play until after it is approved by the supervisor. So we can't just go to a store and purchase something with our P card anymore. We must first create a requisition before using the P card. So that's the main difference here. And that is for any purchase that the building makes, whether it's special ed or building supplies, whatever it might be. All departments must use this process. Fundraisers is a big one for our PTO. So any fundraiser must be approved, and this form is completed for that. So basically it's a very brief form, but we go through, so for example, our vendor fair that's coming up in October, this is completed. I scan it, I send it over to Mary Beth Fast. She approves it, and we're good to go. So some of the big things: must have permission by the building principal. It must have a specific purpose and specifically what we are going to be using the money for once we've met our goal. And it must be used for co-curricular or extracurricular activities. We can't have fundraisers to purchase new science materials, for example. So some of the fundraising guidelines, these are some big ones that we've taken some time to study closely. So again, approval by the principal. We must inform parents of the goal, and we cannot reward individuals for raising money. So this is a big change. So we can't give kids pizza parties for meeting a goal. We also can't give kids monetary rewards for making a goal. If kids sell a certain amount of money or raise a certain amount of money, we're also not allowed to single those students out. We have to make sure that we keep accurate records, deposit funds daily to Robin, and we also must complete a deposit sheet for any money that is then sent to the business office or taken to the bank if it's related to PTO. So if we are selling t-shirts, for example, this is what this is all about. So we must complete a form ahead of time for that and make our best guess as of what the amount of all the things are, how many we think we're going to be selling, and so on. So we can't order things ahead of time. We must predict that this is what we are going to do based on orders that we get ahead of time. Again, that's mainly for PTO. So this is one that relates to anyone who is traveling, anyone who gets approved through teacher quality money. for traveling to a conference. So you must complete this form. Mileage, meals, hotel. You must keep itemized receipts for anything that is incurred. So I can't just say that I turn in a receipt for $25.95 for dinner at a restaurant. I must have a breakdown on that receipt of exactly what was purchased. You can't exceed over 20%, and claims must be completed within 30 days. Alcohol is not allowed to be put on the same receipt. That must be a separate receipt paid for by the employee. So here is the meal expense travel reconciliation form and mileage reimbursement claim that both need to be completed. Typically, if we're going to a conference, a bigger conference that I accompany, I will take care of all of this with the P card, but there are times when people go on individual conferences that they must handle it on their own using these forms. So gifts and donations. So if we get a donation for $3,000 from United Way through a grant or from First American Bank, all of that must be turned in with paperwork, an agreement to the district office, to the board. And we have a special account that falls under donations that we use then for purchasing items. So for example, summer school, we had a specific account where that grant money came from. It went into that account, and whenever we made expenses for summer school, it came from that line item. Healthy Kids Act, I've gone through this already, but basically any type of fundraising should promote healthy food and beverages. Staff modeling the Healthy Kids Act guidelines. Beverages should be in an unmarked container. Snacks must be consumed after lunch if they are for celebratory reasons. They must be confined to the classroom if we are providing them to students. If students bring them from home, we only encourage parents to ensure that they're healthy, but that is not within our jurisdiction to mandate that they are. If we are giving snacks that might not meet the Healthy Kids Act, those have to be after 4 p.m. Gift cards. So I mentioned the grants. When we receive a grant, we must contact the business office about that. We cannot use gift cards or certificates. We can't give those to staff, parents, volunteers, whoever, under the district umbrella. We can't make donations to other nonprofit organizations unless that was identified prior to raising the fund. So I can't say I'm going to give money to the Urbandale Education Foundation. We're going to sponsor a golf hole on the golf course as part of their fundraiser, unless we have raised money prior to that saying that we want to contribute to that. And we are held personally responsible if we don't follow these procedures. The last piece is basically just frequently asked questions. Things have come up throughout the summer as we've been planning with PTO and events that we've had in the past. We now wonder, well, does this meet the guidelines or not? This procedures manual serves as a healthy tool for that also. I have contacted Steve Richmond or Mary Beth Fast on several occasions, and I just to make sure that we're following the guidelines. Again, not all of these things are relevant to staff members, but it's good to be informed of all of the things that must be followed as part of a public institution. Here are all of the forms based on travel, bids, fundraising, resale, grants, and purchase orders, if you're ever looking for something. And then we're developing a P-card manual at the district office as well. So those individuals will have some guidelines around that. Thank you.